Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry, I'm getting started a couple minutes later. We'll just get these shadows out of here. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully you can hear me okay. Hello, Kimberly. Hey, Jenny, how are you doing? I was trying to, so sometimes they change, making lunch. Sounds good. Hey, Christy. Sometimes they change Facebook around when you're trying to do the live, and I noticed that you could add a link. So I thought, oh, I should do that. And then I looked at the clock and it's like, oh my God, it's 1 o'clock. So anyway, I am here. Hi, Lorna. I don't know. Can you guys even see some kind of a link that says Pinkfresh, the Starburst Circles stamps and dies? Because I don't see it from my thing. So who knows where it actually is. Anyway, there's supposed to be some kind of link, but oh well. You know, sometimes you got to figure Facebook out. Hey, Judy. So I pulled these out. No, you don't see it, of course. Okay. Hello, Tamara. I know the morning's gone by so quick. I'm home today, and of course, with Remembrance Day. Hi, Rosie. And we kind of just took the morning. Oh, it's 8 p.m. in Scotland. I'm glad. So we had a time change here, and I wonder, you guys may not have had a time change yet, or maybe you already had yours, Katie. It's so cool that you're in Scotland. Hi, Sandy. So yeah, our time went back on the weekend, so that's nice. It's a little bit earlier for you. So I was playing with these. And these were ones that had come out a little while ago, and I really like them. So I hadn't had a chance to play with them and just kind of pulled them out to figure out what to do. And I like that they give you a sample there. You had yours on Halloween, Katie? Yeah, I think years before our time change actually happened on Halloween, but it was a week later this year. So I don't know what that was about. So I thought, you know what, we're going to play just to kind of see like where to put what colors, and they are really simple, like really easy. So I wanted to show you guys a couple different versions. These are in the store, and there's also, I don't have them here, but this is what they are. The Starburst, so what exactly is it called here? Seamless Starburst Circles. And say that 5 times fast. So here is the stamp set. This is a look at what the stamp set looks like. And so you can add all these details on to the stenciled, but you can see here, like I don't have the stamps, so you can do it either way. But if you like the look of this and you want the stamps as well, you get the sentiments here. I don't know, can you see that? There's lots of different sentiments, and then you get these really cool lines that you can add in, and you can do the stamped ones as well. So I guess depending on, you know, what you want, if you want them both together, if you want them separate. Hello, Blaine. And when I did this in red and pink, it just really made me think of peppermints for Christmas. And when I put it together, it was really easy to do. And I thought this would be a really good basic Christmas card if you wanted to make a whole bunch. Lots of times I'll do Christmas cards like one of each because they're really detailed, and I enjoy like the process of adding stamps and coloring. But if you're sending to a lot of people, or even like making 10, that you want a little bit simpler, this is really easy to do. It's really nice, isn't it, Jenny? Hello, Raquel. And then I added on this little sentiment from Mama Elephant. These are adorable, and look how many sentiments you get. They are really great. So lots of really fun ones, and I chose like one with sparkle here because we ended up adding in the little glitter paste on the top. And I love the way it sparkles. So I like the way that they've done this stencil, that you layer it. It's not completely, like you can see, the Starburst, they're made to be a little bit wonky. They don't match up completely perfectly. And that kind of gives them that fun vibe. Using craft paper would totally be really great, Jenny. And playing around with the colors. So this one here, I decided to do 3 different shades. So we've got the yellow, the pink, and the green. And maybe we'll do this one together just so you can see exactly how you would do it if you want to do different colors. So this one we use Spun Sugar, Kitsch Flamingo, and Festive Berries, and that's what we're going to use on this one. Hi, Debbie. And we used Twisted Citron, Cracked Pistachio, and Lucky Clover. That was the green. And the Twisted Citron was an ink. You can mix up your inks and your oxides, or use whatever ink pads you have and mix and match them. And then I used Squeezed Lemonade, Fossilized Amber, and Carved Pumpkin for the yellowy orange ones. So I just grabbed what I had. You can do whatever ones you want to kind of mix them up. This one here I thought would make a really nice masculine card. So this was Speckled Egg ink. And then I used the Hickory Smoke and the Black Soot in the oxide. So again, you can just by adding a sentiment on their sample here, they've got a sentiment stamped in there. So you could stamp something in the open spots, or you could do something like that that's a strip across. So really lots of options, and I really like this. And then you could go a step further and add the glitter paste, or I'm going to show you how to add some embossing powder as well, if you wanted to do that over one of those stripes, just to add a little bit of sparkle. So there's lots you could do with that. So first, maybe what we'll do is I'm going to just show you how you could do this colored one to give you an idea, and then if you decide to get these, you don't have to try and figure out where to put the different colors. And just by watching this step by step, you'll see that it's really, really easy. And then I grabbed a bunch of different embellishments there that we'll do at the end. So I kind of followed this guide. Definitely lots of possibilities, Rosie. And let's put this up here. I've got this Moonstone Glimmer paste, which is one of my favorites. I think I first saw this, Virginia had designed something for one of the Creative Scrapbooker make and takes, and it had this on it, and this is just my favorite. And I think it wasn't available for a while, and it's back in stock, and I've used it a ton. There's still stuff left in there, and it's one of my favorites. Opal polish, totally, Katie, and I wished I had grabbed that because I was thinking that the other day. You could completely put opal polish over and maybe I'll run down and grab it too, just to kind of play around, because I thought we'll just play with this and then we'll make the Christmas card. So when you get the stencils, there are 6 stencils, and I just have to turn them around so I can see which side is which. Okay. So up in the top left corner, Try and get it so you can see it there. Stencil 1. If you want to see this a little bit better, you could take a little bit of black paint and just kind of rub it over the indent or a little bit of black ink, and then you're going to be able to see that a little bit better, but it's not hard to see. So stencil 1 through 6, and if you kind of keep them so that that stencil number is in the top left, you're going to know exactly which one to do. So how I started off was I've got stencil number 1. And this one is going to be, we'll just do a multicolor background to show you. But if you decide just to do, greens or yellows or, whatever color you decide, you just basically need 3 shades of that color. So whether you are doing multiple or not. And then if you wanted to do one of those shades, like the top layer, if you wanted to do foiling with your deco foil gel, or if you want to do any kind of paste or that opal polish, definitely I thought we'd try a little bit of embossing powder just to kind of play with that top layer. It can either be over an ink or it can be separate if you were doing a foil and wanted to go over it with your deco foil gel. Then the foil is opaque, it's not going to show through, so you wouldn't need an ink color under that, if that makes sense. So we've got our first stencil layer, and let's see here. We'll go with our pinks first. So we've got spun sugar, and so for the pink, we're doing the top, and I find that the brushes work better than the sponges when you're doing the detailed stenciling, just so you can really get into those grooves. So we've got this one, and really it doesn't matter which ones you decide to do, and you could do them all different colors if you wanted, which would be fun. Now this one here is going to be on the second stencil. So it's like 1 and 2 go together because 1 is your first layer plus, and then 2 is these 2 right here because they would have been too close to put together. So that's actually going to be the green one, and then our pink one will be here on our second layer. So it's not hard to figure out. Okay, so that's our first layer, and then what I did was just take 3 brushes out and do 1 for each color. And I just wipe them off in between. Enabler, hey Lindsay, I know, they're so cute. Sorry, they are so cute. This one is Twisted Citron, so this is an ink, and really, again, it doesn't matter what colors you choose, you just kind of want 3 different shades, the lighter and the medium and the darker shade. So I just grabbed what was close. Pinkfresh has lots of layering stencils. We did that butterfly a couple months ago, the small butterflies, and those were beautiful. And I love that you can use them separately, or you can coordinate them with the stamps that they have. All right, so and this one is Squeezed Lemonade. And I don't know if I wiped that off, but just... So really easy. I mean, you can just like watch TV, watch a show while you're doing this. If you wanted to do a bunch, I would say, do this layer, do it again on all your layers that you want to do, and it's going to be even quicker when we do the one color on the Christmas one. So even like this is so pretty. Like, I think it looks fantastic just like this too. So then what we're going to do is I just give this a little wipe and the ink comes right off. If you had dark inks on it, you could just run it under the tap and the inks come right off, just so you don't get ink all over anything else. Okay, then our second layer is going to be still the first colors, but it's going to be those two circles that were close. So how I found it, oh, and there's also little tiny guides for the corners, and we're just lining that up, and you can see where everything is underneath just to make sure, but those are lined up. So this one's going to be yellow again, so we'll take our yellow, and I'm not even doing a thick coat of this. And then we'll do our spun sugar again. The spun sugar is really nice and light. Okay, so we'll put that aside and just wipe it off because I don't want to forget when we go to do our pink layer. And then what I've been doing with my brush is I have a wipe. I just give it a wipe. I'm not going to go through and wash it. I'm just wiping it so that some of that color comes off and then drying it on a cloth. So really, if nothing's coming off on the cloth, you don't have to worry about going to your next ink color. And because we're keeping these in the same family as well, but I did do some stenciling recently and I used one brush and did a rainbow of colors just by wiping it in between like this, and they worked perfectly. So, you know, at the end of all your stenciling, if you feel like you want to give it a better clean, then you can do that. Great stencil for card production line, you're right. Oh yes, you could, yeah, it is a great set. You could definitely get your family to help with this and line them up if you need some Christmas card production. All right, so this is number 3. So again, 3 and 4 go together. They are the second colors that you're choosing. So for the next color, for the pink, I'm going with Kitsch Flamingo. So that was one of the newer Tim Holtz colors. And it's this nice, bright kind of, well, I think Kitsch Flamingo really describes it well. Okay, so we'll do the pink, and we just go over it. And what, like, you can just line up your corners again, right? And then what I did was kind of just look in, and I'm just making sure that it looks like it's pretty well lined up. And I might shift it just a tiny bit, but basically if you're keeping those corners on, you're good. And like I said, they're meant to be a little bit wonky, so this one you don't really even have to think about because you can see the colors underneath, and you're going to keep the pink with the pink and all the colors with the ones that match. And it goes on really quickly, especially the oxides. I find that they're just so smooth and go on so nicely. Now for our next color of pink. The new crayons, are all back in stock, and the latest Mama Elephant release. You guys are definitely going to want to check that out. So we're going to definitely be bringing those crayons back to do some more with those in some lives. Fossilized Amber is the next color, the medium with the yellow. And the mama elephant is so cute, the release. I'm very excited. Of course, I had to order a few things. I'm very excited about those. All right. There we go. That's our yellow. And then we're going to do our green, and then we'll put that next layer on to do the other yellow and the pink. So the green, the second color is going to be cracked pistachio. So again, it doesn't have to be exactly these colors. I just grabbed them and just use, use the colors that you have. And they're going to look great. We'll cover those. So I was at my new job at the preschool, and it's been going really well, and the kids are so fun, and they're cute. They're 3-year-olds, and I've been there all week. All right, we're going to switch to our next one. And I don't know what, yesterday it was like there was a full moon, and the afternoon I came home and I'm like, said to my husband, did you remember the scene from Daddy Daycare where the kids were like screaming and running around like they were crazy? That was my afternoon. I don't know what, something in the water or what. Anyway, it was funny because, and then he found this clip from that show Kindergarten Cop with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he was at, I don't remember the whole show, but I think he was a cop, and then he went to the kindergarten or the school, and he came home and he was just like completely wiped, and he just like fell down. And that was totally how I felt. Like, I don't know how these kids have that much energy. So it was kind of funny. So nice to have this nice relaxing crafting day with you guys. So we just go in and do our, hi Connie, do our second layer, again, our Kitsch Flamingo and Fossilized Amber. And you don't have to keep this in the same family. You could do, you could do pink and then yellow, and that's going to make an orange layer with anything that overlaps, and then something on the top. So really playing around with this is going to be so fun, and getting those different color combinations. So that was stencil 4, and then the top layer, stencil 5. You're in covert. Okay, we will give you a code name. You can be Brenda today. How about that? All right, so this is our top layer, and then we go to our last layers here. We've got Carved Pumpkin, Festive Berries, and Lucky Clover. So we'll just give these a little bit of a wipe off. It's not going to affect too much. And even if you forget and get a little bit of ink into your other ink pad, it'll be okay. Brenda should actually be working. It's okay. Well, sometimes Brenda needs a break, right? Okay, let's do Festive Berries. And I'm sure everyone's more productive when they get a little bit of a break, just to recharge. So this is the layer that I went over with the Moonstone paste. And okay, so this one is green. So yeah, this, if you want to do the top layer in a paste or a texture paste or your opal polish, this one is the layer that you're going to do it in. Hello, Shelly. Hello, everybody else that popped in. I don't always see the names. Okay, and then carved pumpkin. You could go with like a mustard seed if you wanted to keep it really yellow, but I thought going with the orange was kind of fun. All right, who started their Christmas cards now? I am going to spend next week really getting maybe like 30 Christmas cards done. And then, okay, that's our, I don't send out like a ton, but I do have a couple swaps that I'm doing, and I just like to have some on hand. I do have some that I've made that are a little more detailed for the lives and stuff like that, and it's nice to have those special ones just to send out sometimes. So this is our last layer, number 6. Been making for ages. That's good. I think if you start early, it's definitely, you don't feel that pressure and you feel like you've actually enjoyed making those cards. And then I think I moved this a little bit. My tape is becoming less sticky, so I'm just going to align this back up. I just ordered the Make Art Station, so I'm kind of excited to get that. I think it'll be really good for stenciling. If it's something you're looking for, I think Sandy may be able to order it in for you. And I like that it has the magnetic base. I think, Tamara, you have that, right? How are you liking that? So that's basically our background, really easy. Has a fun, really like, I think this is great for like birthdays and celebration and stuff like that. So then if you want to go over the top layer, so layer 5 and 6 again, because I'm using something that's translucent. So let's see. I'm still debating whether I should run downstairs and get that opal polished. Do you guys want to see that? Or so I've got this embossing dabber. Now, if you do put something that's wet on the distress inks, just be aware that you're going to get a little bit of color on here because the distress products they do move around with water, right? But we can just wipe it off. So I think that's fine. Or if you're worried about it, you can always open the cover and you can put a little bit on a sponge dauber. And what I thought we would do is just see how well this gets into, and before I do that, actually, because we don't want our embossing powder to stick to everything. So I think we should just dry this for a minute because we only want it to stick to the spot where we put the dabber on. And I probably should have grabbed like a powder bag, but I'll just give this a little, you guys are going to get the picture anyways. It works really well with stencils and coloring, Sarah. Yeah, I guess coloring would be great. You, Shelly, you found your cards. Well, just, yeah, I think be happy. You are definitely ahead of the game. So I just went over that with the heat gun, my toy heat gun. I've dropped it numerous times and it's cracked. It's still working though. Okay, so let's go over this. And like I said, I should have had the powder bag. And I could go get it, but you know. And it doesn't even matter if this is completely lined up, because this powder that I'm using, and this is in the store as well, Wanderlust. It's the Wow powder. I love this powder. So it's clear, and we're going to be able to see the color underneath. So let's just see what's going on here. So I'm squeezing this a tiny bit, and there's a little bit of a spongy dauber in the top, sponge applicator in the top, and I actually didn't even look to see if this was in the store. So if it's not, or if you don't have it, what you could do is take a clean sponge dauber and your Versamark ink and rub that on, and then rub it in onto your paper. You're not going to get as much on it, and you may have to go over it a couple times, but that's an option. Okay. And it may not get into all the grooves as well, because it's not as great as a brush. I think you could probably even maybe use the brush with the Versamark ink pad, and that might get a little more in, and you can always wash out this Versamark. But I'm just dabbing, and I know you can't really see, but I'm looking at it at an angle, and it looks like it's getting into most of the spots. Okay. And that will just wash off. So let's see. So we've got the Versamark ink. It's that sticky ink. Well, this one isn't Versamark. It's the Ranger. So any kind of embossing ink. And then I need a piece of paper here. The kids are doing shrink plastic, which is all over the table, but they've printed off a whole bunch of pictures, and they trace the pictures and cut them out. And Amy makes earrings, which are fantastic. Hello, Kim. All right. So this is the Wanderlust paper. Let's take off this piece of washi tape. The Wanderlust, I think I called it paper. The Wanderlust powder. Oh, and it looks good. And it did stick to a couple places. So I would definitely recommend use your powder bag before you put on. And there's not a whole lot on this one or this one, because we haven't gone through yet with the other stencil, but okay, now we can heat that up. You have quite a few done, but a complete mismatch. Yeah, I have lots that I have lots that are definitely not, like a whole matching set, but that's okay. And I really struggle to do more than one in the same. Does anybody else feel like that? So we're just heating up this powder. This is so pretty and sparkly, and you're still going to see the color underneath, but then it has this almost iridescent, sparkly effect. So that gives you an idea, and then you would go over it again with this one and the embossing ink and add on the glitter. So it just really adds kind of that step up. So I thought that was really, I'm glad that that worked, because that was kind of a last minute, let's try that. And I think if you have the opal polish, try it, because I think it would work the same way. You just take the sponge applicator and go over it. Okay, let's do our Christmas card. So with this one here, this is so quick and easy. We've got our background cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And again, you can just make sure you're on stencil number 1. Line up your corners. And you can just kind of see that through. Okay. So we go back to our pinks that we're using. And I'm just going to wipe off this brush. I don't know what brushes are in the shop. This one is a Gina K one. But there's lots of different brushes. I think there's, I think we've had Studio Katia and the Picket Fence, and they are all great brushes. And I'm looking at my desk to see where I've put my sponge sugar ink, and honestly, like, I don't have too much on here, but I have obviously lost it already. Okay, let's see. There, we found it. We still have all those. Oh, that's good. So if you look in the shop under, probably brushes, everything's going to come up. The Vicky Bouton Vellum is that is gorgeous, and both sides of paper pads are going to be delivered tonight. I am going to just remind Erica, she wanted to sit downstairs, and obviously she's forgotten. And is having a conversation with someone. There we go. Okay, so sponge sugar. Now this is really quick because we are going to go over everything with the same color. So it's going to be full coverage with one color on the first one and two stencils. And that's how I did this one as well. So it was the speckled egg was first, the hickory smoke was second, and then the black soot was third. So the Vicky Bouton, she has the Fernwood collection, and then I think we still have some of that. What was the Christmas one called? Something Wishes. Both beautiful. The Fernwood is the newest one, and it is gorgeous. I think it's going to be one that's going to be good for using all year round. Just the images on it are so pretty. Okay, so we just have a light covering. Again, even that first, the first stencil, I just love that. Okay, then we line up our number 2 and do the same one. So what has everyone been up to this week? I know I have a ton of laundry to do, but I figured that wasn't quite as much fun as crafting. So this is number 3. So what I do is line up those corners, and then I kind of just look at the circles and see whether I want to adjust it a tiny bit. You have to go back to work. Thanks, Brenda. Oh, warm wishes. Thanks, Katie. Yes. Well, yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day, Connie. And hopefully you weren't blown too bad, your cover. All right, this one, Kitsch Flamingo. So layer 2, stencil 3. And you could do this with the reds if you wanted more of, you know, a red and white theme. I think you get the candy cane effect with this because we've added in those little candy cane embellishments and the sentiment in the red and the white. But definitely lots of color possibilities. So I was saying that I tend to struggle with doing the same card over again, and I feel like this stencil really lets you change it up. So whether you're changing the colors a little bit, you could do green and whites, like a light green would work as well, or the reds, or do different pinks, and you can change it up so that you're not feeling like you're doing the same one. All right, same thing. I line up the corners, and then just, if you want to slightly adjust it, you can. And the weather's been so good. I should really be outside. I think we're supposed to get a few little flurries on the weekend, and I'm going to do some decorating, I think. Erica's been asking me to get the tree up. She wanted it up November the 1st, but I thought that was a little bit too early. And so this one's the Festive Berries. So we're going to go to stencil number 6. And sorry, stencil number 5. And our last color. So stencil 5. And this is our 3rd color of ink. We'll put that on. So yeah, she wanted November 1st, and I thought that was a little bit too early for me. She was very excited that her elf is going to come, or we have 2 elves, so they are both going to show up. And I told her the 20th, but I have something on the 20th, so I'm like thinking, I think this weekend maybe we'll start putting up a few things, start getting things tidied up, put fall decorations away. When do you guys usually put up your Christmas decorations? We used to do it on the usually on December 1st, but there was 1 week where the weather was really kind of gross, and Amy was little and she was home, and I decided to do it the week before, and it was really so nice that to get everything up before December 1st, because I found like once December 1st comes, you're busy with stuff, and you know there's events. I don't know if there's events happening now, but you know there was always events going on, and it was nice just to have the tree up. And so I enjoy putting it up just a little bit before. I know Erica. December 1st, Jenny. And Lindsay, you start anytime between now and the end of November. Yeah, I think that, you know, whatever your schedule, whatever works with your schedule, and if it makes it easier. I'm all about making it easier. Hi, Penny. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Mary. So then we're going to finish that stencil 6. I moved it a little bit, but it'll be okay. You might want to tape yours down a little bit more. My tape is losing stickiness, but still it's fine. So fun, this is fun, but I love when you just add that element of sparkle on the top. So then we go back to our layer 5. And we're done with our inks. We go back to layer 5 and put that back on, you know, pretty much in the same spot. We'll add a little more washi tape here. So the Nuvo glitter paste, and it doesn't take long to dry, which is nice. I've just got a palette knife, and when you put on your glitter paste, I think I need to order some more of this. It definitely is my favorite. So this one's the Moonstone, and it's iridescent and clear. Not clear, but it's, I don't know, what do you call that, semi-translucent? So you want to put your paste on the back of your knife so that you can pull it down. If you have the stencil pal, that works great as well, because you can just kind of run it over. You don't need a lot. So what I'm doing is I'm covering each one, but then I'm turning the knife on an angle to scrape off the excess. And this, you'll notice, it will pick up some of that ink color, so I won't end up putting this back in the jar because it's got the ink color. But really, you can get away without using a lot, and you're not wasting much either. So then I'm just going to go over it, scrape off the excess by pulling that palette knife, and you can see like it really didn't use a lot. Then you definitely want to put this in, like rinse it or wash it off. I'm just going to throw it in some water because that it does stick on there. And we do want to do our other layer, but I'm going to see if I can dry this a little bit quickly just so it doesn't get smudged with that stencil number 6. You need November to be a break before the storm. That's true. Like, you just need to catch up on everything. I love this paste. It's so shimmery and sparkly in the light. Normally, I would just set this aside and let it dry for like 15 minutes. It doesn't take very long. You can see how it just turns that red layer. And I'm just going to kind of, that pretty much dried it, just going over it like that. So it doesn't take long. And then we'll just do the second layer. But yeah, I would probably just set it aside 15 minutes and then go back in and do your next layer. And I'm just lining it up where we had, there. I think I'd like to do some tags. So sometimes in the past, my sister has come over. I'm going to try and use the rest of this before it dries. And we can always get some more if we need to, but we only have these 2 little spots. So I'm just trying to make it work. There. And then I will just throw the palette knife and that stencil just into some soapy water. Yeah, my sister usually comes over and we do some tags, so that might be another idea to do before December hits. Okay, so we've got our card. Do you guys end up making tags? I think we'll glue this directly down. You could put some foam tape, but I found it was okay just gluing it directly down. I like when I have my stamps and everything out for cards, just using those same supplies and making some tags so that you have some nice tags to put on gifts for, you know, those special people that you like to give, you know, will appreciate the work you put into it. Okay, so this is our background. And then what I did was I stamped out this one here. I think your holidays sparkle with joy. Yeah, so I stamped out this, and these are in clusters of 3. So you can stamp out 3 at a time, and then I just took my trimmer and trimmed off the strip. So I had the 4 1/4 wide strip of paper, and I ended up using, I have this Glacier white, but there's lots of white opaque embossing powders that will work. And then I just trimmed off the strips. So we've got, I like the sparkle one just because of the sparkle on here. You started experimenting with silicone makeup brushes for butters and paste. Oh, that's neat. Oh, I know exactly what you mean, Lindsay, because I think my daughter has one for like that you put on masks on your face. That's a great idea. Thanks, Kim. They are fantastic, the layering stencils. So this here, the 3D foam strips, there's a couple different kinds in the shop. These are Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. And then I think there's, what are the other ones? There's like tailored, why am I thinking tailored expressions? I don't know if that's one or not. But anyway, there's a couple different kinds, and they are so nice to have for especially anything that you're putting on that you need a thin layer and you don't want to be cutting. I hate trying to cut foam tape into like strips because I never get it right. I'm just gonna move this closer to the end. There we go. And I like this one because the backing comes off nice and easy. So yeah, for any like little pieces that you need, and if you need to cut it, it cuts into strips really well. And then we'll just kind of put this on in about the same spot. So I'm terrible at lining things up. We'll do it about right here. And I'm lining this up on my mat just so I can have it relatively, I guess I'll put it up a little higher there. but you could do it up here as well. I kind of liked it at the bottom. Okay, so we've got that really quick and easy. So you could stamp out a whole bunch of these, emboss them. You know, you could do white with red as well, but I liked this just because of that candy cane feel. Then I grabbed some here. Now these ones are paper rose and I don't think they're in the shop, but there's a very similar one by Buttons Galore. That is I think it's a sparklets mix. So we'll just pull these out. I liked the white snowflakes. And then I grabbed a couple pink ones from this Studio Cadia. These are rainbow snowflakes. So I liked the pink. So depending on whatever color you were doing, a couple pink coat of that. And then these here, these little happy feet sprinklets by Buttons Galore. Really cute. So I like that they have the little peppermints in the red and the green, and I thought that was a fun effect. Now I just have to find my glue. I might have to use this. Oh, there it is. This one is a really good glue. I know it's been really hard to get the Art Institute glue in right now. It's been on back order. I think this deluxe adhesive is in the shop and it's really good as well. Oh no, the girls are planning a park trip once you're done your live. Oh, okay. That's funny. I heard Erica talking, but I'm like, be quiet. Oh no, she cut it herself. Well, she's very creative, Tamara. What else am I looking for? I'm looking for this. So I don't know if there's any gem pickers in the store. I've had this forever, and I have a couple different ones, but they are handy especially if you're putting on a few different ones. So a few different, or a bunch of gems rather. So let's see, we'll kind of do what I had here. These are really cute because they have the little penguins. We're not going to use the little penguins today, but we'll put on these embellishments. And if you're not sure, I feel like this, I haven't used this for a little while, so I don't want it to like blob out. Hang on. There we go. If you ever feel like your stickles or your paste or something isn't coming out easily, do it off to the side first because you don't want to have an incident. Okay, so if you are putting on sequins and you just don't know, I would recommend placing them first until you feel like you have an idea about where you want them to go. And sometimes it even helps if you take a picture or you look through a camera, because sometimes I find just looking at it, you're not really sure if, you know, does that look good there? And sometimes when you're looking through the camera, you just get a little bit of a different view and you can tell like if something's out of place. And also it doesn't have to be perfect because this is just a fun Christmas card and, you know, you can't really go wrong. Or I think some people's technique is just dropping the sequins on to get a random splattering. There are so many cute sprinkles. If you look up sprinklets or sparklets or sequins, like there's so many cute ones. Impossible to get the arc glue. That's right, because they won't ship it in the winter because it freezes and then it doesn't, you know, I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens when it gets cold. You have the gem pickers. Oh, perfect. The Studio Cadia plus the Marvi, they're both great. Um, yeah, at least they know that, you know, it doesn't work. So this one I would say is my second favorite, and it's clear drying as well. And hopefully by spring they will get it back in. So you don't have to put this many on. I feel like I'm squeezing too hard. You can just decide whether you want a few. I'm going to put my dots on first. See, that came out a little bit, but it is clear, so it's just going to dry clear. I'm going to put my dots of glue just because I know where I want my sequins, and that will be quicker than you watching me try to get them all on. Okay, I love these white snowflakes. So pretty. What do you guys like using? Do you like the colored kind of sparklet things or sprinklets? Do you like the gems or sequins? I like them all, and sometimes I find I really like mixing and matching them. So that's why I like having a few different packages and then picking out the different colors. And what do we need here? I'm going to get one more green, and then I had a pink. One more pink. Hi, Betty. No worries. We are just at the end. Yeah, definitely catch the replay, and then you can see all the fun we had with different. I'll show you the backgrounds that we made before I go. You know that the pink one is there. There we go. I really like these rainbow snowflakes. Okay. So there is our Christmas card. All nice and sparkly. And I think that's really cute. So I'll definitely be making some more of these. I'm thinking that I might do some in green as well, because green peppermints are really fun. And then here's a look at the multicolor background that we did, and that Wanderlust embossing powder. Thanks, guys. And here is a look at this black, gray, and speckled egg background that I think would be really fun with for a masculine card. The inks and the reds, the pinks and the reds for the holiday. Yes, Jenny, I do too. Like, I really love pink on holiday stuff. So yes, I was like, links, did the links show up? Thanks, Betty. Yeah, thank you guys for joining me. And if you want to check out those stencils, they are the Seamless Starburst Circles. I am not going to get that. And the stamps are in the store as well. And that Glimmer paste, the Wanderlust powder, and then all the fun little sparkly things. And of course, there's always a large selection of distress oxides and inks in the shop as well. I like the gray. Yeah, I really like it. Like, I don't think it would have to be masculine. It's just, you could definitely use it for a masculine card as well, but I think you could put a little bit of sparkle on there. You could do even like a little bit of gold or something. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I hope that you have a wonderful week. fantastic weekend. Enjoy your November, and I will see you again next week. So thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.